morning, everyone. I, Pratibha Chaudhary, Additional DIT, PR and PP, extend a warm welcome to all of you to this special edition of Samvaad. Friends, the government introduced the income tax bill in Parliament, a significant step towards simplifying and consolidating the provisions of the Income Tax Act 1961. This proposed legislation aims to enhance clarity, ease compliance, and modernize tax administration. To discuss the key aspects of the bill, like tax administration, return of income, and procedure for assessment, we have with us today a very distinguished guest. We heartily welcome Mr. G.M. Das sir. He is an IRS officer of 1990 batch, presently posted as CCIT TDS Mumbai. In a distinguished career spanning over 3 decades, Sir has worked in almost all branches of the income tax department, including assessment, investigation wing, central charge, training, transfer pricing, exemptions, vigilance, DRITAT, CIT appeal, and TDS. Sir has also served as a faculty member at NADT for 5 years and continues to be a regular guest faculty at NADT and its regional campuses. He has played a key role as a member of the core committee for the simplification of income tax law. We are honored to have you with us, sir. Thank you, sir, for joining us today in this Samvad episode. We welcome you, sir. Sir, firstly, our viewers would like to know that the current Income Tax Act 1961 has 4 parts under Chapter 13 dealing with income tax authorities. However, in the proposed bill, Chapter 14 titled Tax Administration consists of only 2 parts. What is the key differences?
Thank you, Pratibha. So, actually, the Chapter 13 of Income Tax Act 1961, as you said, contains 4 parts. Now, the Part A of that chapter is about appointment and control of income tax authorities, and Part B is about jurisdiction of such authorities, and Part C is about the powers of income tax authorities. Then there is a Part D also, which talks about disclosure of information that is provided in section 138. So, in the Act 1961 there are 4 parts as we discussed. But now what is done now in the proposed bill, now Part A and B is merged into one part. Similarly, the Part C and D, that is powers and disclosure of information, is merged into another part. So, 2 parts have become one part, another 2 parts have become another part. The Act 1961, if you see, the disclosure information had only one section, that is section 138. So, what is done now in the proposed bill is this one section is moved along with the powers. Even disclosure of information also a sort of function of the income tax authority to give the not to give the information except in the circumstances provided in the Act. So, these 2 sections also have been merged.
Sir, can you give me some examples of simplification made in this chapter?
Okay, there are different approaches to simplification, and I can give you some examples in this chapter itself. In the Income Tax Act 1961, there is a section 133A5 wherein a survey can be conducted to ascertain the scale of expenditure in respect of an event or function or ceremony. Now, this section is very lengthy and very bulky. In the proposed bill, this section is made into smaller parts. The main limb of the section provides the circumstances in which this survey can be conducted, and thereafter it is split into 3 small parts. Now, the first part says the person who is in possession of such information shall provide that information to the authority. Now, the second part of part says that the authority concerned can record the statement of such person. The third part says that the statement so recorded can be used as an evidence in the proceedings. So, by this way, when you are splitting a bulky subsection into smaller parts, it is very easy to follow and understand that section. There is one more section 132B4 in the Income Tax Act 1961, which talks about giving interest to assessee at the time of release of money, or if there are assets other than money, if that has to be released, you have to give interest if the amount which you are going to release is in excess of the liability against the assessee. Now, in the proposed bill, there is mechanism provided by way of formula, the working of how to grant an interest by using this formula. So, by using this formula, the assessee and as well as the assessing officer will easily know what is the interest to be given to the assessee under this subsection. Then there are certain explanations which are scattered in 3 different places. Under section 132, there is one explanation, 2 explanations, which says that the reason to believe as well as reason to suspect shall not be disclosed to any personnel or any authority or appellate tribunal. Similarly, section 132A also provides an explanation stating that the reason to believe under that section need not be provided to person or authority or appellate tribunal. In the proposed bill, section 261, all these 3 explanations scattered in different parts of the sections are provided in one place. So, these are the some of the examples I have given to you by which the process of simplification is made in the proposed bill.
Sir, why the definition of computer system in section 261E of the proposed act different from the one in the Information Technology Act 2000?
The word computer system is defined in the proposed bill, and the same word computer system is also available in the Information Technology Act 2000. But the definition, if you see, these are 2 different definitions, and these are 2 different acts. The purpose and the intention of these acts are also different, and therefore, the definitions of the same term need not be same, they are different.
Sir, in section 247(8), the term mutatis mutandis has been retained, even though other terms like notwithstanding have been replaced with simpler alternatives like irrespective of or despite. What is the reason for keeping this term?
The word mutatis mutandis, the term mutatis mutandis is a very settled word by the court. This is also an approach in the new bill, if you see, that wherever the term or the word in the act has been settled by the court, there is no need to change it. But at the same time, very complex legal terms have to be replaced if that is possible. That is why you can see the word notwithstanding has been replaced by simple English words like irrespective of or despite, whereas the term mutatis mutandis has been retained because of this word is a settled word by the court.
So, please give some examples of how simplification has been made in this chapter 15.
Chapter 15 relates to return of income. Now, the corresponding section relating to filing of return of income in the Income Tax Act 1961 is section 139. Now, you have another section 139C which relates to power of board to dispense with the furnishing of documents with the return of income. There is one section 139D, filing of return in electronic form. Now, this 139, 139C, 139D, all these 3 sections are clubbed together in the proposed bill. Further, the Income Tax Act 1961 contains, 139(1) contains if you see, there are 7 provisos, 6 explanations, and section 139 as such contains 16 subsections. Additional explanation and provisos are there. So all these explanations, provisos, 16 subsections have been merged along with the other sections also I have told you. The new section is 263 subsection 1 and class A, and we only have 9 subsections now comprising all these sections, and it has come in a very simple manner for taxpayers to understand.
Sir, how will the simplification efforts in filing the return of income will help the taxpayer?
Yeah, that's actually very good question, because now how does the simplification process help the taxpayer? Because section 139, if you see, there are many subsections. I told you 16 subsections were there. Subsection 4A talks about filing of return of income by trust. Now similarly, subsection 4B talks about filing of return of income by political parties. Now subsection 4C, exempt institutions or agencies. Subsection 4D, university, college. 4E, business trust. 4F, investment fund, and any other person under subsection 1 of section 139. So different persons, different subsections are provided in the 1961 Act. Now all these persons who are finding their place in different subsections are grouped together in one class, that is class A of subsection 1 of section 263. Now for a taxpayer, he just needs to look at this one clause, where is he filing, whether he is supposed to file the return of income or not as per this one clause in the Income Tax Act, instead of searching for that in different places in the Income Tax Act. And therefore this is another way of making things simple for the taxpayer to understand and also do his obligation of filing return of income as per the provisions of the Act.
Sir, have the due dates for filing returns of income changed in the new bill?
No, Pratibha, there is no change with regard to due dates. 263 1 clause B gives the dates, and again these dates are given in a nice tabular format. The assessee, the person who is supposed to file the return, and what is the due date. So even this also makes simple for the reader to understand and do his obligation. No change in the due dates.
Sir, are exempt entities required to file return of income in the new bill?
Yes, the exempt entities have to file the return of income in the Income Tax Act 1961 as well as in the new bill. There is no change. If they are required to file a return, if their total income before allowing the exemption provisions is above the limit of chargeable limit, then they are required to file a return of income in the new bill as well as in the Income Tax Act 1961.
So to what extent has this chapter been reduced in terms of number of sections and word count?
As I told you, 3 sections in section 139 have been clubbed, and those sections are 139, 139C, 139D. These 3 sections alone, the word count is to the extent of about 5,370 words or so. Now the new section 263 is the word count is reduced. It is coming to about 2,020 words. So overall there is a word reduction to the extent of these 3 sections alone is to the extent of 3,250 words. Similarly, if you see the new chapter is chapter 15 as you said, and the old chapter is chapter 14, and the total word count in these chapters come to the extent of about 4,970 words.
So what are highlights of changes made in this chapter 16?
Chapter 16 in the proposed bill pertains to assessment procedure. In this chapter, the faceless assessment scheme is provided in section 144B. Now this section, there is a substantive part as well as many subsections therein are related to the procedural aspects. So the procedural part of this section is being shifted to the rules, and only the substantive part of the provision is retained in section 144B in the corresponding section. Similarly, section 153 relating to time limit for completing of assessment and section 155 relating to passing of amendment orders, these two sections now given in a tabular format. So if I want to know that there is a particular assessment pending in my case before the assessing officer and what will be the time limit, then if I look into the table, I will exactly know this is the kind of an assessment pending against me, and this is what the time limit against such kind of an assessment. So by providing tables 153 and 155, equivalent sections are 286 as well as 288 in the proposed bill, the taxpayer would easily understand these sections. Now there are also three other sections relating to faceless mechanism. 142B, faceless enquiry or valuation. Then you have 151A, faceless assessment of income escaping assessment. Then you have 157A, that is faceless rectification, amendment, issuance of notice or intimation. So all these three faceless related sections have been now taken to a new section 532 in the proposed bill. Now in that new section, it is provided that the government, central government will be framing schemes for eliminating the interface with the assessee. So what is spread across in different places, different sections, is now clubbed and taken to one place. Also a process of simplification.
Sir, is there any change made to the provisions of section 148A of the IT Act 1961?
There is a small change with reference to this section 148A of Income Tax Act 1961. As you know, this section is a process of following a particular procedure before issue of notice under section 148. There are certain exceptions provided in section 148A warranting that this particular procedure need not be followed in such circumstance. One example provided right now in section 148A is if information is collected in a faceless manner under section 135A, then the procedure under section 148A is not necessary. Some improvement in that section is made, corresponding section in the proposed bill, because with regard to GAR provisions, if a matter is referred to the approving panel under that section and the approving panel has taken a decision and such a direction is given to the assessing officer, then the assessing officer must follow that direction. He has no scope to deviate from that direction given by the approving panel. And if a 148 notice has to be issued in such a case where there is a direction of approving panel, then under 148A, the assessing officer has the option whether to continue the proceeding by way of issue of notice under section 148 or drop the proceedings under section 148A. But if there is a direction from the approving panel, he has no such option, and therefore the direction wherever is there from the approving panel, the same has been also becoming part of exclusion under section 148A. There is another situation also. There can be an order or direction from a court or tribunal or any authority. When such direction or order is passed by a court or tribunal or authority, then again the effect has to be given by the assessing officer. So this direction of the court or tribunal or authority is also brought as an exception under section 148A, so that the procedure under 148A need not be followed. To that extent, there is a small change in corresponding provision in the bill.
So, to what extent has this chapter been reduced in terms of the numbers of sections and word count.
Chapter 16 is the new bill, in the new bill relating to the assessment procedure. The corresponding chapter is chapter 14 of the Income Tax Act 1961. If you see, there are only 24 sections in chapter 16 of the new bill. The corresponding sections, if you see, there are about 33 sections in chapter 14 of the Income Tax Act 1961. And the word reduction, I would say it is about 13,500 words. By this manner, simplification, about 13,500 words are reduced.
We are truly grateful, sir, for your time and for enlightening us on such an important subject. Your insights into tax administration, return of income, and procedure for assessment provisions of the new income tax bill will be immensely valuable to our viewers. Thank you once again. Namaskar. Jai Hind.